There you go.
Little did you know, we were just miming that whole time anyway.
Absolutely.
It was all a test.
Welcome to Hobby Hangout. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm not sick this week, but I'm not off either.
What was you?
It's a horrible day, as John was saying outside. My fiance got stuck on the train because apparently the train tracks got flooded. I thought, surely the train can wade its way through.
half my commute in this morning was like through 6 inches or a foot of water in places.
I think tomorrow they'll all have to be required to bring in sponges, so you can just throw them out the window. So today I am joined by John and Ben, who's off in the ether as well. Again this week.
I've returned back to the digital plane, as it were.
My goodness. Now we can all see where that foam board air conditioning stuff is.
Just over there, is it? No, that way.
Why,
That way.
why is the bottom line? Why is it not crisscross, Ben?
Because I put it back on because it fell off, and then I can't bother to move it again. So.
Well, you're gonna leave a few people very angry, including Caesar.
He can live with it.
Right, let's get stuck in. We've got a project that we want to show off first, and that is Minotaurs. Yes, we are streaming now.
We're not talking to the PC.
That's okay, we just had a huge stock delivery, so that's okay. You guys get out of it, but I need you two guys.
Woohoo!
I actually kind of want to go through it.
Right, stream's over.
Lucky sods.
So while we're doing a live stream, the guys have got a very exciting delivery in, which we'll mention at some point during the vlogs, I think.
I'm super friggin' jelly right now because I actually kind of want to be out there doing it. Wonder if does Ryan want to jump in and help me hang out this week? I have nothing good to say. Don't worry about it.
Okay, first off, we're gonna have a look at the Minotaur by Brushstroke.
Yes.
Yes.
This was a project we were going to, we had lined up to talk about last week when Ben and I were sat here and we were super excited to show it, and then we ran out of time, and unfortunately we didn't get to show it, so we thought we'd show it first today.
So let me just link this into the chat. The chat is working this week. Everything seems to be working fine.
Don't say anything!
It's amazing.
We're gonna break
You've
it.
cursed us all.
We're doomed now. God, there's
only
gonna be a
thing-
power cut.
The only thing that's not working is the weather outside, that's all. This Minotaur is from Zealot. So that is a fantastic looking
It's a
sculpt.
gorgeous model, isn't it? Really, really.
It's fantastic, yeah.
Terrifying looking.
That's what Minotaurs should look like in Age of Sigmar, not the weird muscle upon muscle things that you get from Games Workshop. So, yeah.
This, I remember Ben and I scrolling through it and going, you know, that Minotaur is really cool. And then we seen the idea that was coming together of like this guy just leaping at it. I was like, this just feels like proper epic, like something you would see in a cinematic.
I see these here were.
Yeah.
These were 3D printed.
These
then?
pillars look 3D printed, yeah.
Yeah, because the architecture inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have 3D printed pillars, and then they've broken them down into some interesting diorama pieces, as you can see. Yeah.
That smattering of like gravel and stuff around it just really adds that gorgeous level of texture to this. Because it makes it more believable. That pillar has fallen over. It's clearly going to crush stuff.
I love that there's a skeleton here that's just like.
Seen better days.
Yeah, but it also reminds me of that skit we did with Lloyd and the skeletons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
During one of the weekends.
That one that was far too long and awkward looking.
Yeah. So I think
But that's what the scene's like as well, though. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I remember we watched that, and it was just like a little bit of research because Lloyd was talking about it, and none of us had really seen it. And then he linked it. We're like, Lloyd, this is 8 minutes for one one action sequence. And most of it was just them looking at
skeletons
really
just
slow
standing
things.
up. Yeah.
This looks fantastic so far.
Yeah.
I'm loving all the attention to detail, like the verdigris and the shield. It's like someone has walked past it, not looked at it, and like, nah, that's
Nah,
done.
I don't need that.
Do these look appropriately aged? Yes, I think they do.
Mm-hmm.
Even the skull with a little bit of
Damage on it.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was molded into the skull, or cut into, but it looks great.
If it's from Games Workshop, then it definitely probably it probably did come with the smashed in skull, I think.
Yep.
So. But yeah, I love the way the weeds have been done. We're actually growing through the pavement cracks rather than sort of sitting above them, which is really good. That must have taken quite a while to sort of stuff those in there.
I can imagine it took a lot of patience. I've tried something similar and my patience ran out after about 20 minutes.
I said just like fill the gaps with glue and just shove them in with some tweezers. Might work.
Yeah, tweezers are probably the way forward there, aren't they? Yeah.
Yep.
It makes sense to fill like those gaps in pavestone, so because what else would? There's nothing else really. You could fill it with like sand or grout or anything, but after years of wear and tear, of course, some moss and stuff is going to grow in.
Yep. Like the work on this axe as we go down with it, like I love the wood grain that he's got on there, especially that a mix of that what's clearly more like a steel material with like the bronze as the
Sort of
class.
hammered over the top of it, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So you're getting that nice mixture of weathering effects, that standard steel rust, and then you're getting that green-blue verdigris.
The minor roar.
Man, that face. He'd be angry.
Yeah, I like how he's. This is something that I wouldn't think about doing. Is like starting off with a face. You know, people usually always draw faces because it's the most attractive part of someone's body, in artistic form. So that's why I always like people approach like painting and drawing faces first. But if I was painting this, I would paint like the deepest areas and try and get them done with. I've always approached everything with an opposite end of the spectrum. So like I always reward myself. So whenever I got home from school, I'd do my homework and then I'd go out to play, because if the sooner I get it done, the sooner I can go out and play.
See,
I'd do the same with like a mini like this. The sooner I get the hard bits done.
Do you know, the worst part of it for me when I'm approaching painting like that is, I think, right, if I'm doing, I'm just going to throw it there, say I'm doing a 40k army, I'll do some infantry and I'll try to keep a vehicle aside to do as the reward.
Yeah.
And I end up just doing the vehicle anyway. I like paint 2 figures, or I base coat them all and then I go, right, time for the tank. And away I go. And then to completely forget everything else.
I suppose like that impatience gets the better of you sometimes.
It's the better of me all the time. I've never learned patience when approaching painting, which is probably why I'm not at the stage where I could be going to like UK and Europe-wide competitions and stuff. If I had a bit of patience, I could possibly do that. I'm just an impatient person. I just like to have the project done regardless of what way I approach it. I want the best bits done first, though.
I actually see I actually see a lot of people who paint miniatures for like dioramas and things where they actually complete a section of the miniature first, like a little bit like the facial detail there. But that's always the thing that I get really worried about, because if I think that I completely finished the face and then it comes to me painting another step of the model and then I accidentally like get a bit of paint on that and I'm like, no, what have I done? I've ruined it all. And then you have to go back and keep touching it up all the time, rather than sort of going through like all base layers, all washing, all shading, etc.
You see Demon Rich on Instagram doing that a lot. We interviewed him at UK Games Expo this year. Or Salute maybe.
I think it was Salute. Yeah.
He does a lot of Titans, like Warhammer Titans, but what he does is he takes the plates and just like freehands moths and big eyeballs and stuff on them, and then he sets them aside and then connects them all together. So I suppose maybe that's an easier way to paint them, like, or something organic like this Minotaur might be a little bit more difficult.
That's how I approach painting my knights as well. I took all the armor off and primed it off the rest of the model, then stuck it all together and started adding the other colors.
Fantastic work so far.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing how he approaches like more of
Oh,
his
yeah.
tone and stuff. I can imagine like all these like veiny parts and the shoulders and legs, and then seeing all the cloth work and stuff. That should be really
The
interesting.
scars on the back of the and sort
Yeah.
of across the arms and stuff are going to be really fascinating to see how they work too.
Mhm.
But yeah, I can't wait to see this diorama finish. It's going to be superb, I think.
Even
so.
the Spartan, I think, will be interesting to see.
Oh yeah, the spawn's going to be really different to see how well that's painted.
That's going to contrast quite a
yeah.
bit if I go up and
He should contrast really starkly against everything
yeah.
else.
Because it's one of the Arena X models as well, so it's another range that is very, very like high detail as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that should be very cool. Looking forward to seeing that. Okay, next up we have something else that was commented in the Hobby Hangout article. So if you want us to have a look at your projects, feel free to go across the article, and you can post in your own links. So if you go to here, click Hobby Hangout Live and insert your comment, and we'll be able to see what you want us to see, essentially. So there's nothing else new, but maybe that'll change at the end of the stream. So this is, we've seen this before. This is Into the Abyss with Deep Wars and Shadow Sea by the Buckland Brewer. He had done some fantastic work, and we asked him if he could separate his minis, because they were all like clumped together, and we really wanted to see a more detailed view of them. So this is what we've got. Let's see if I can copy this here and bring it into Photoshop for a little bit of a closer look here. The detail on this,
Ah, so good.
that is really nice work.
Mm-hmm.
I love like even the I don't know, would you call these like fish fins, like fin? It's almost like the skin work. It's not. It doesn't look like cloth, but just like the scaling work on this.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
I love that everything actually looks like it's under the sea
Mhm.
as well. It doesn't look like it's been painted like out of situ sort of thing.
Yeah. Bring this in. I think we'll bring them all into Photoshop. Oh, that one. There we go. This would work really well in BioShock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The color between, like changing the blend between the blue and the green, really nice. Let's have a look at some more, see if we can bring them into Photoshop as well. This was one I think we were talking about at one
This is
stage.
one of my favorites.
That you like, John? Yeah.
Mhm.
The whole like dragonfly kind of thing. That was really, really nice. Like, it's very simple details, because it's just like you can paint those dots in, or you get maybe like a toothbrush and like
Speckle
flick
it.
the flick the bristles to speckle it on, but
Mm.
very, very nice.
It kind of gets that slightly more organic look to it, I think, which is really nice. So
The shine on this shrimp is fantastic.
So
'Cause that I don't know
Very shiny shrimp.
if that would be like used with shining spray or if it's painted on.
It's,
John,
no, it's definitely gloss varnish over
Yeah.
that shell.
it's the little touches like the sort of blue markings towards the head of the crustacean as
Yeah.
well. It's just so nice, little tiny things like that. Gah.
as you said,
so beautiful.
Ben, like they're so colorful, but they still look organic.
Mm.
And then there's this lady, who's
I
like
love
the
this
opposite.
lighting
Mm.
coming up. It's really, really subtle. It doesn't give off too much light, but it still shows. That's really nice. The details on the corset too.
I believe the characters that aren't quite so nautical, they're from the Shadow Sea side of things.
Mhm.
But
And then we saw this guy last time as well.
With his evil gluey eye.
the evil eye.
So what is this here? Is this?
It's a
Big ass crustacean. I wonder if these are. That looks like plastic card. These sculpting in as crystals.
Could be.
Yeah, they could be actually. It's,
Oh, we've seen that one a couple of times, and it's still friggin' amazing.
it's nice seeing. It's nice seeing how sort of built up the bases are as a start anyway, actually, because I'm not usually a fan of scenic bases, but I think in this case, to try and continue the effect of it being underwater, you need something like this,
Yeah.
especially for a lot of stuff that is swimming as well. So it needs to be sort of like craftily done, I guess you'd say would be the right way to say it. But
Yeah, because all of this is underwater, it's completely unique. Because
yeah,
you know what other war game has this potential?
yeah.
Like you
It's
always-
one of the things I've always said about Deep Wars and Shadow Sea and Antimatter. It's like it's a fantastically original gaming world
Yep.
that we see a lot of people talking about, but not necessarily showing up that often on like a big scale. It's kind of like at the same sort of underground level as like Bushido and stuff to me. So.
Is that not what this looks
It
like?
does a little bit, yeah.
Toad.
Seeing all these white minis with a green background just reminds me of like Rico stuff.
Yep.
That's very cool. I like him.
He's like the paladin of the depths.
Paladins. Wow, there's so much going on here. The Draconids of the sea. Let's have a look at this. I love the work on the crystals here.
Mm.
This reminds me of like a Mantic Game stuff. A little bit. The shine from the crystals onto the skulls, really nice.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing what it does. This painter is truly mastered the art of non-metallic metals.
Mm. And we're being asked when will Reichbuster's video be on the channel? Oh, you're just gonna have to wait. You're just gonna have to wait. But I might be able to say soon.
It has been filmed.
Mm.
I think a good indicator would be the Kickstarter time. So
Yep.
bear that in mind. So.
Okay, fantastic stuff there. The Deep War stuff. It's not something we usually see quite often. So really nice and very inspirational as well to see.
Yes,
that
yeah.
painted
It should
work.
give some people some interesting tips for painting things that aren't just sort of drab colours from the real world. So.
Okay, so this has been suggested: the Fallout Wasteland Warfare Red Rocket Scenic Set. My goodness,
Some
say that
mouthful, isn't it?
5 times fast. By Omega 1976. A lot easier to read that one. So what are we working on? This is a
It's
very
the
cool.
it's the paper craft, well, the
Mhm.
card craft red rocket with some resin pieces
Uh-huh.
to detail it up.
So here we see it all in situ. Very cool. Alright, cool. So they have the downloads as well to see how it's all set up. It looks pretty simple and easy to put together.
Looks exactly like the red rocket should.
And like even with, like I'm thinking, even with these like clips and
Mm.
stuff, it doesn't look too out of place because like Fallout's very messy anyway.
Plus,
Yeah,
you could
so-
always rust those up.
Yeah. Part 2 painting.
Oh, he's doing the good old salt technique.
So do you want to explain this technique
Uh,
as for someone who's never heard of this before?
Yeah, so essentially what you're doing is you're spraying hairspray onto a piece after you've done some base coating, or in this case, what he's done is done all the rust sort of texture and dirt texture.
Mhm.
He's then sprayed some hairspray over it and then dribbled some salt, like rock salt, onto it. What you then do is you take your airbrush and you very thinly paint your next coat over that, and then you chip off the rock salt and you get left with the sort of chipped effect.
Huh.
That's, yeah. That's very interesting.
That's very cool. Yeah.
You have to be careful with it because if you're using hairspray to adhere the salt, if you touch water on it at all, the hairspray will also come off. So what you can do is you can use the rock salt for really big chips, and then go in with a hard brush with a little bit of warm water in it and dab in certain areas, and that'll lift the paint along with the hairspray as well in other spots. So you can mix and match the level of weathering.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
That's something I've never heard of before.
I watched a guy do it on a really big. Ben, do you remember the big Forge-World model Space Marine?
Yeah.
A guy basically re-sculpted that entirely to be like this really fancy-looking Ultramarine, but he rock salt chipped the entire mini.
Wow.
It took him ages, and it was a gorgeous piece when it was finished.
So this here's the board that he's making now. So
Mhm.
essentially for a place for the gas red rocket to sit on. It's a lot bigger than I thought.
It is a big piece, but then again, like it takes up most of the gaming area that the the mat takes up.
So I haven't played much of even Fallout 4 in the last like year or so, and I haven't seen very much of the miniatures game because the other guys have been editing them. But what kind of scenarios would you pull out of this? You think
It's mostly like
it's a bit of go grab and
suggestions-
capture kind of thing?
yeah, the suggestions are like capture materials that you need, or use a workbench, or something like that. Scavenge, hunt, avoid, or defend. and
You
so
can have
forth.
folks on the top of the building, sort of holding off the enemy. That could be kind of cool. Yeah.
That's a
And because the game's like,
Isn't it? That was very
because-
cool.
because the game's got that solo cooperative feel to it, there's lots of different options for you there. So.
Do you guys have any suggestions for scenarios for this? Because I'm even sure that Omega 1976 might be looking for some ideas as well. Okay, let's just quickly go back to the Hobby Hangout article and see if there's any more suggestions for us. No. So I've invented a very handy, ingenious idea to select our projects this week. Because there's 14 rows, I've got a D20. So I'm just going to roll this. And if it goes above 14, we're going to look at the last one. But if it goes any others, we'll just choose from the 3 listed in the column. What have we got? 14. So the very last one. What do we like the look of here, fellas? So Dr. Tortenkopf is making Terminators great again. Subadai's sci-fi soldiery, or the last market of the Tower. This was a terrain challenge. I kind of want to see how this finished off.
I'm voting for the Terminators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. Although I also want to look at Subadai's sci-fi soldiery as well.
Well,
So.
we've picked so.
We'll just look at this entire line then, and that will do.
Yay!
Okay, let's go for all of these. This should be interesting.
Democracy at
Fuel
work.
Stuff. I like that.
Democracy's dead, Ben. Socialism's the way to go.
I can feel the red inside me.
Does Marx talk to you at night?
He does. He tells me to destroy the proletariat. Down with the bourgeoisie.
Okay, these might be big projects, or maybe our internet's screwing up again. But
I think our internet. I think the website is slightly having a problem because mine is also.
Great.
A natural 20 means Ben is banished from the ether. What? No.
So we'll have a look at Ben. You want to look at Subadai's sci-fi soldiery by
Yeah.
Let's have a look through this here. I've pasted the link into the chat so you can join along as well. Stomping Grounds. My goodness. The Goth clan has enough wheels. It's time for Da Boys. Some two-legged mechanical sport and sheet of dreadnoughts. And their larger cousins, the Stompers.
This is some proper old school.
This is epic, isn't it?
Old school epic stuff, yeah. This is fantastic. Oh my god, I love those big, what do they call them, stompers, yeah.
This looks like a very simple paint scheme, bar the checker patterns. Because he seems to be like priming in black and just giving it a dusting of dry brush and then just filling out little details on these. But it works really well.
That's the thing with painting anything at these smaller scales. You can make them look good with very few sort of techniques, can't you? That's the thing. So, because you only need to add little dashes of color, and suddenly something will pop to life. Which is, wow, these are so cool. I love seeing old school stuff.
Or DACA, all right. Oh my goodness. So let's see, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 colors in that, minus the verdigris bits. With 6 colors in that model, that's pretty impressive.
So, but I was saying it's quick and rewarding.
Yeah.
There you go.
Definitely. Oh my goodness, this looks like Robot Wars.
The tanks with claws.
There's no vertical spinners, so.
It is the Bane Blade.
The Bane Blade.
It is the Bane Blade.
Another Goth clan.
I love all the work he's doing on the. There's got some Imperial Guard in there as well, which is cool. So you've got 2 different forces that you can play as. Seems mostly infantry based for the moment for the Imperial Guard, but
They have a Bane Blade. It's fine.
the tank to end all tanks, is
Yeah.
it?
There's some Lehman Russ creeping around in the background there.
And there's a Chimera, I believe, as well. Is it Chimera? Yeah.
Those are Medusas.
Oh.
The 3 vehicles beside each other are Medusas.
Oh yeah, they're Medusas.
Oh
but
my god, are those friggin' Ratlings? Are those Ratling snipers, Ben? I think they are.
The little guys?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Rattling snipers, yeah.
Rattling snipers, and there's also
Griffins. They're not Medusas, they're Griffins.
And there's also the Ogrin squad, who are all looking very dapper and very cool in their shades.
No, I have a tiny complaint here. I like how all of it's in grass basing
in a city.
in an urban city.
Yeah.
He's clearly just about to build the board. All the formations of her 2nd edition epic, he says.
That's very cool. I love the photography work here as well. That's really nicely done.
I would love to, like...
That's pretty intimidating there.
Yeah. I would never play it, but I would love a huge epic tank formation just for the hell of it. Just to have it all lined up and go, look how amazing this is.
This reminds me that there was before the Hobbit miniatures side of things was a thing, there was a Battle of 5 Armies epic set that they did.
Yeah.
And to this day, I would really love to just have that box, because it was just a way for you to play out the Battle of 5 Armies on the tabletop. And you can find it on eBay, but it's so expensive. But one of these days.
So what is...
This is Dr. Tortenkopf is making Terminators great again. Now,
I'm confused
is
by...
Dr. Tortenkopf is a chocolate brand. I'm pretty sure in Germany.
Is it?
Not? Or in the Scandinavian countries. Coco, do you know?
Google search. Dr. Torten.
Google says
So,
no.
well, his name is Dr.
No, I don't know. I don't
Tortenkopf
know.
as well, but that's what I'm just assuming.
It's all British.
Tortenkopf means cake head.
What?
The first result is his post on the site.
The first result is his post.
Okay.
I was really hoping to see he was making space, Terminators out of biscuits, biscuit.
That'd be
boxes.
really good. Yeah.
Dr. Oetker is a brand as well.
Yes.
Pizza guy.
Dr. Oetker? It's not pizza.
Cake head, skull. Anyway,
So
the whole point of this project, by the way, just so we're talking about cake at the same time, was that he was trying to make true scale Terminators. That was the big thing. So Terminators that were bigger than Primaris Marines, purposely ready to kick ass. So he's been doing a lot more work on these and sort of bringing them to life. I think it's doing Howling Griffins, I think.
Yeah.
So
I love the Howling Griffin style, that sort of quartered red and yellow. It
Yeah.
would drive me to insanity, but I would definitely like to try it.
I can't believe that he's actually cutting up the miniatures from the Space Hulk box as well. Oh my god.
Does it hurt you, or because I really couldn't care less?
I know, you take Dremels to AT-ATs. It's
I did, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
yeah. But like we've still got that version, the new version of Space Hulk they brought out, but not the latest box, the one before that, and we've still got all the models in there that are still in their red and purple. One day we'll paint them. Maybe I should paint them and use them for this like competition thing and just show some Terminators or something. But yeah.
Here you can see them all being cut up into pieces. So
Ah!
we did look at this once before, I think.
Yeah, we looked at it. I think when it was just like two images or 3 images. I think back when it was just starting.
Yeah.
I love seeing all the
That's-
images of them taking like razor saws to models that people would cry over if they could buy them.
That's very cool there, just having
Yeah,
a
adding
little
the skull to the hand.
and just hiding that little bit of cut work with green stuff.
It's a really cool idea. I've seen a few people try to do true scale Marines and true scale Terminators and stuff, and some of them are more successful than others. So I hope. Well, I mean, this one is turning out pretty good.
Yeah. So last in that row, 10 racers. This was the train challenge, the last market of Batar. So this was November 5th. So it's nice to see that he's actually continuing on with his project as well. But what is this? Went to Blood and Glory this weekend, played the Age of Sigmar Warhammer Achievements narrative event. This saw the crew finished for the last market. These are very colourful.
I want to see
here.
the snake. Look at the snake.
Snake.
Look at the snake.
That's a snake.
It's a snake.
Oh my goodness, that looks amazing.
That is so
Yeah.
friggin' cool.
Like, remembering that came from. Hold on. If I go to the very bottom of the post. Sorry if you. Whoa! What is
What's
this?
that? What have you done?
I think maybe it's an image that hasn't loaded in. That's what it looks like. So where's the boat? Where's the toy boat? That's him there in his fantastic getup. So yeah, this started off as just this toy boat.
He's a man after my own heart. He likes cutting stuff up and repurposing. That building is friggin' cool though. That is a fantastic piece of work.
Let's see.
Snake.
We'll bring it into Photoshop here. Oh, big high-res image. Beautiful. Like, most of this is all spray painted, but my god,
It
he
has-
made it work.
It has a glorious theme to it. That is a really, really eye-catching piece, and it fits that mat so well.
Yeah, yeah. You can imagine it being an actual thing in Age of Sigmar. So.
It has a certain like Tortuga ring to it.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
It's like, I've made a house. What have you made it out of? Well, I found this boat, right? Okay. I decided that boat ain't gonna sail anymore.
That's really cool. I love it. Fantastic work, and it's absolutely thrilling to see. Like, people are still continuing on with the project as well.
It's great seeing it being used in sort of non-traditional games as well. So it's got being used in sort of like a flying ship battle and all kinds of things like that.
He was voted the best army by the people as well.
That's
by the
cool.
Players. I love how it says bad dice, because I immediately thought, oh, did he just get really bad rolls? He was given a trophy for it, but it must be the company. And there you can see it here in the wild as well. I love that there's even extra bits that people have added. Oh no, that's his other project, the tree in the background. And then maybe he's made these as well. So these might be like air bases. Very, very cool.
So friggin' epic.
It shows how inventive people can be with Age of Sigmar. Now they've got a little bit more license to like get into that high fantasy side of things. So yeah.
Like, just looking at this, if I rescale this image, huge images which I love, but for this purpose, I need to like scale them back a bit. That looks like one of the original boats anyway. I think that is maybe the original boat. But like, this whole thing was created with one of these.
Yeah.
Just with some hacksawing and a bit of spray paint. Seems to do the job, and it's fantastic work. Very, very cool.
Every picture he takes of it, just
so
you
cool
get to see
looking.
a little bit more.
Even the little boat that's just hanging off, little thingy.
It's one of those things like, you know, we were talking about the Red Rocket thing earlier. You could base the entire scenario just around this ship, effectively.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Especially if you're playing something like Age of Sigmar Skirmish or something. So that doesn't require you to have massive armies playing around it. So.
Yeah.
Okay. John, do you want to do the honors? 5. Okay. Sweet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one should we look at first?
Let's slip the Dogs of War. A Dog of War.
Because it has a massive Warhound Titan on the front image. Is that
Yeah.
That way, John.
Plus, I like the quote.
Okay, so here we go. Looking at this one. Let's Slip a Dog of War by Irish Steve. Also known as Genuine Vision. Or Sanjin Vision. I realized a couple of weeks ago that it's not really genuine that I'm pronouncing it, because it's Irish. It's an Irish pronunciation to it, so I think it's Sanjin.
I don't speak Gaelic, so don't ask me.
Sandwich Vision.
Sandwich Vision. Sandwich Vision.
Thank you, Ben.
Gotcha.
So he's building the Forge World Warhound, which is friggin' such a gorgeous model. Someday, John, we will own one of those. Someday.
From scattered beginnings.
It's crazy how big all of these pieces actually are for this thing.
Yeah, when you see them up close, you see the. I had never seen the Warlord up close until we went to Warhammer World for like 2 hours, and I spent most of those 2 hours staring at it. So I was like, this model shouldn't actually stand. It looks too big and too heavy.
Yeah.
I like what Sundancer said here in the comments. Like, you trick John into looking at a project by having a tank in photo.
Yeah.
You don't have to paint it pink. You can just have anything else in it. Just have a tank as
It could be a saga project.
feature
but if you have a
image.
tank on the front, I will probably click on it, and then I will curse you for your duplicity.
If you really
Well,
if you really want to get a John, have a tank in the profile photo, but then have it a project on AT-ATs.
No. See if I see that next week. If we click on something as a tank and it turns out to be an AT-AT, I'm just leaving the room. I'm gonna go make a cup of tea.
We'll have to, like, if that becomes a thing, we'll have to actually put some rules in place. Like, you have to advertise what it is. You know, like, kind of clickbait.
Yes. Do not clickbait the John.
I've one of the things actually going back to the idea of what we're talking about with the Titans. When we went to Warhammer World, and we were talking, I think it was the time we visited, and we were talking with the guys in the store about their stuff in the cabinets.
Yeah.
And I asked the guy how tough they were to build, and he said that the way that they do it is that they only use stuff that they create to show that it's possible, that you don't need like all this random, like you don't need all the specialist kit to do it.
Yeah.
So they stick everything together with just the super glue, and there's no magnets involved or anything. And I couldn't believe the patience that they must have had to do all this stuff, because the amount of times I would have just been like pinning things with those kind of huge creations that they make, like the massive Eldar Titans and stuff.
Yeah.
But then when the guy was like, "Oh yeah, it's all just done with super glue," it was like, Jesus Christ.
So here we can see Irish Steve's fantastic freehand work here. The cursing eye. Even just the work on the cloak, like on the leather, or the scrapes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really like his paint work, because he always like thins down his paints and does quite a lot of layers.
Yeah.
Again, patience. Something I just don't own. Oh, wee Greg. Mr. Eisenhorn or Eisen whatever.
Some beautiful detail, even on the gun. That
Yeah.
little bit of texture
Mm.
there, really nice. A lot of color in that model actually as well.
Yeah.
Like they're very muted colors, but there's a lot of it. That's very nice as well. What is this? This is Kingdom Death with something else, or is this all of Kingdom Death?
I think it's from
What's the Edge?
the Edge Dawnfall. Yeah, it's one of the like strange dragon creatures. Yeah.
Oh, it's a weapon to surpass Metal Gear. if you know all those memes.
And I think we've seen this before, but like even the detail in the wood here, the swampland stuff, very very nice. Let's go to page 2 and have we nosy.
What devilry is this?
Let's go to page 3 actually. Let's go back into the history. Roll my dice. 20. So that's the very last one.
Again.
You've critted twice.
Yes.
Well, I rolled a 14 in the last one, so that was the very last.
Oh yeah, you fought. Oh yeah.
I crit
Sorry,
once.
You've crit once. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, we get to look at some Strontium Dog.
Ah, for that
Strontium
game, that
Dog.
for that comic book series that no one cares about.
Whoa!
Oh dear.
No one cares about 2000 AD. You remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right, we'll look at that first then, so you guys can't be bitter about it.
Screw 2008.
Right, so this is a project by Guillotine, or Guillotine.
Guillotine is the way you say it. Clearly,
Mm-hmm.
it's now the official way to say his name, according to him in the comments. So.
Here's the Styx Trio. I don't know anything about Strontium Dog. Also, thank you very
Don't need
much,
to know.
Geezer, for hosting the stream. You don't need any. Don't need to know.
But no,
Wow,
the
look at these guys.
the painting's really cool on these guys. I like that they're I like that they're colourful, but not as ridiculously poppy as the sort of official paint schemes.
Yeah.
I like that they're a little bit more sort of toned down.
You know what?
Uh,
These would work really well in Fallout.
They probably would
Wouldn't
actually.
they?
I'm going to move the camera because everyone is seeing far too much of my belly, and half of your face was cut off. So
These would work so well in Fallout. Because they all look like... Well, he's clearly gone on the scale with, like, mutant nuclear...
he's embraced it.
Yeah. This guy here looks like he's maybe just been, like, in a bath of acid, like, head dunked into toilet of acid or something.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the most awful
and
story
then,
of his
and
life.
then this guy looks like he's just been obliterated from a nuclear blast, but he's still surviving.
or his Fallout like vault suit has fused with his flesh.
Yeah.
If you painted that blue and yellow, that would look exactly like.
Yeah. So let's go back.
What is with the guy that has
What?
absolutely no torso?
What's wrong with this guy?
His name is Lowdown OC. What the hell?
Oh my god!
This is why I can't get this comic book series. 'Cause there are people, there are weird ass people like this.
What the hell? Here, Coco, do you want to see a guy with no torso? What the hell?
Well,
It's
That's the thing you've seen today. As Miguel Cancela says in the chat, that is an extreme wedgie.
definitely, yeah.
It's one that was never recovered from.
I think these work so well in the
My-
Fallout.
My problem with 2000 AD is I just don't like its aesthetic. I mean, the green guy in the middle there, his helmet is just friggin' terrible looking. It's friggin' terrible. I don't care much for the wee creature to his right either. It's kind of funny, kind of cute, but no.
Yeah.
You know, that's cute. That's hilarious. I like that. It's beautifully painted as well, and it's a kind of a cute little thing. That guy though, that guy just needs to go to hell with that helmet.
I feel like his helmet would look cooler if it was like flipped. I don't know if that's meant to be the term, but I feel like it was like that, and then his eyes were here
I don't know.
or something.
I just think it looks terrible. I just think the aesthetic is awful. Again, it's the same with. I'm going to say it, and people are going to hate me so much. It's the same with Judge Dredd. I look at the Judge Dredd comic books, and I'm like, ew. All the aesthetic is just so awful to me.
It's a very unique aesthetic.
It is.
I think it's very specialized to people who have a fondness for the comics, and that old school style of designing things. I think.
Can't take that guy seriously. I mean, what the hell is it supposed to be? It's like someone thought, right? So Workshop isn't doing squats anymore, but we can't do squats exactly. So let's just make a guy with no torso.
Don't worry, John. I've got this. Here we go.
Apparently, everyone is completely against us, and we're heretics. So.
It's a good day.
Hold on. Don't worry. Here we go.
Are you just gonna stretch this?
I don't know what you're talking about, John.
I don't know what you're doing.
There we go. Completely fixed. I don't know. Oh, no. No. There we go. Perfect.
Hey Coco, we fixed it.
Looks like he's stuck in a time warp or
The
something.
chat friggin' hates us though.
Yeah.
Everyone watching absolutely hates us.
Apparently, we're jeopardizing our next shipment of Anzac biscuits. because
I'm
of
okay
this.
with that.
I'm more surprised that we're not jeopardizing our relationship with poor old Charlie from Warlord. Because if he's watching this, he'd be like, "Excuse me, I'm gonna."
What
get
are
a
you saying about my range?
I'm gonna get a message from him in a minute, and it's gonna be like, "John, we need to talk." And I'll be like, "Uh-oh." It'll be a call straight through to John Staller, and he'll be like, "John, it's over."
Okay, well, moving on. Let's have a look at some Wasteland Warfare by Tom D.
Moving on to Universe with a better aesthetic.
Wow.
So Tom D's got all of his stuff painted up so far, I think, here. Very nice basing work, actually. On
He's
these
got
as well.
Paladin dancing in the moonlight.
God.
Here we go. Some nice close-ups.
I love the Brotherhood of Steel stuff. Because you get to be a little more vibrant than you do with nearly every other faction, apart from the Vault Dwellers themselves.
Oh, the factions, yeah, they all seem very muted.
Yeah. Because you have the Gunners that are mostly like olive drab and stuff, but then you have the Brotherhood, which is like blacks, reds, and silvers.
And then you have all power armor and stuff. It's just metal work.
Better aesthetic.
You have these doggies. Oh, these poor dogs. My goodness.
There's Paladin Dance Dance.
The man himself.
Dancing in the moonlight. Dancing in the rain. I mean, the dance jokes can go on for quite a while. I really dig his
actually,
death claws.
They're very well done.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think, Ben, you and I were looking at these last week, weren't we?
Uh,
I think
Yes,
we've seen the
possibly.
death claws.
yeah, we saw the death claws chomping on the cow. Yeah.
Hey! Get out of here!
Do you know what we missed? That guy needed a mustache.
No, he's already got a mustache, John.
He needed a better one.
I can't be. He's already got
It doesn't. It's a very thin little line.
What colour mustache do you want?
Anyway, no, it's fine. It's
Well,
fine.
no, you've
No.
talked me into it,
No.
John. You can't just introduce me to that. Let's give him a
Yeah, it's been
stylish
ages since you drew a
mustache.
mustache.
There we go. Oh, look at that. There we go. Let's Let's fill in his eyebrows because he doesn't have any eyebrows either. There we go. Meh! How dare you come in here with your death claws?
Oh dear. Okay.
You brought it up, John. You've only yourself to blame for that one. Oh, that poor cow.
I know.
Oh.
The poor Brahmin is like seen better days.
It's maybe a good job that it cuts it off here in the stream a little bit.
It has had better days.
Very nice work. Forward. Very cool. Okay, let's have a look next at Aurora in Bags Kingdom Death. We haven't seen very much of Kingdom Death recently, but she's been working on this gorgeous phoenix. Oh my god, look at the feather work in this. I've seen it on the Discord.
I didn't realize that she painted the underside of the wings, the reds.
Yeah.
Because I've only ever seen pictures of her doing the top of the wings.
Mm-hmm. So she's done the top of the wings in blue, and then the underside in this beautiful red. And even like doing the big feathers would be difficult enough to get all that blending in. But
Yeah.
those little tiny
something's-
dots, it's Ben sending us messages.
Oh, is Ben sending us messages now?
He wants to
There's a project I want to look at.
Ignore that.
What? No.
Here you can see the final piece of this. Absolutely amazing work and true dedication to the hobby here, Aurora. Amazing work. Is that a face inside that thing? It is. I didn't know that.
Even
It's gonna tear your face off.
Even it has a mustache.
Sure does. Yeah.
It's a hell of a weird mustache, but it's a mustache.
It's like a creepy fish bird, like a carp bird.
Yeah, she did recon. She painted it. As you can see in these pictures, she did it, each one
Yeah.
Yeah.
separately.
Each one's individually. And she's made it look quite simple as well because like that's what is it, 3 colors that she was using? So 1, 2, and then 3, and then maybe just a little wash or something to blend it all together. So the technique seemed to be simple enough, but the dedication
Yeah.
to it is the most
And
impressive
doing it
part
on
of this.
the really tiny feathers as well, when they
Yeah.
could just be sort of like glossed over almost, is yeah.
That cloth work on this guy, that's beautiful. Aurora, you've really come leaps and bounds in your painting.
Again, patience. You see what a bit of patience can do for your painting and learning that. Again, something I
Beautiful
totally
photography work as well, and even just that little border as well is really nice touch. Really frames your mini. I think the only other person who does something like that is like Irish Steve.
Yeah.
But beautiful work.
Suetonius Plenus sort of has his style to his photos as well, doesn't he? With
Oh yeah.
stuff, but,
That's,
You don't want to look underneath the belly of that one.
no,
That's the horrific.
but I will
There
show
you
it. You know what I've seen as well that some people do is they get super glue or plastic glue, and they make the string across the teeth.
Yeah,
I think that looked really cool
It's pretty cool too.
as well, like just silicone or something to just stretch it over the teeth so it looks like
Oh, yeah.
saliva. Really well.
that's a cool idea.
awesome stuff. So Ben, what have you sent me?
It's a first project from a newish member to the site, I believe, called Ragnar 8.
Okay, is it in the first page?
It was from the front page, yes. There's also a link in Skype, but I'm not sure whether or not you can actually get to
I'm
that.
not
so.
going to click on Skype because it screwed up the
Just in
last time
case.
we did it. So what was it called?
My first project, Vikings.
My first project, Vikings.
Like Fisher Price Viking.
It's on the front page, yeah?
Yes.
Do you know where?
I'm going to link it in the chat because that's the easiest way for me to do this.
Yes, please. That would be perfect, actually.
Boom.
Thank you. There we go. Awesome. So we'll have a look at this, and then we'll tear on because we have a huge delivery that me and John both want to have a look at. and John's a little bit busy, and I've painted a tutorial to complete for tomorrow, so we've got a lot of work to do this week. But this is by Ragnar08. So
And the cool thing I wanted to
name.
the cool thing I wanted to show off about this is that because he says this is the first foray into miniatures and painting, which is really cool because these are some fantastic looking models for like a first go at it, which is really
definitely
like picking. I think it's a lot of it's the gripping beast stuff, I believe. No, not gripping beast. Foot saw, I believe. Yeah, that's the one.
This is your first time painting and miniatures, like
just
I
to
give up.
just to give a little bit of context, yellow is incredibly difficult to paint, and you've managed to make it look weathered.
Yeah, he's weathered that in really nice.
And I don't know if that was done with like strong tone or like some kind of dye, but you've really, that's very impressive.
Because he was saying that he originally went with shield transfers, which you can see with the blue and the white, but then he wasn't a fan of it, so he went for the slightly more uniform black and yellow, which is cool. So
Big images as well. I love you, Ragnar.
it's just like Jarl Borg from the Vikings TV show, and
So
his
this is the transfer, which he didn't really enjoy, and then he moved on to painting his own stuff, which, it has that.
it's lovely jubbly. Yeah.
No, excellent,
job.
excellent job. You will, a few more months under your belt, picking out a few more miniatures you enjoy doing, you are going to fly off with your skills.
Oh yeah. And it's one of those key things as well, because at the beginning you can paint up these miniatures for like your Vikings and stuff in those kind of leather tones and dark greens and stuff. And then once you get a little bit more confident, you can start looking at a lot of the other colours that were available to the Vikings, because they had, a lot of people see them as just a lot of people dressed in dark leathers and greys and greens and things, but they had textiles from all over the place in the Middle East and everything. So you got lots of people in blues, reds, purples, that kind of thing too. So
he says that 14th to the 17th miniatures ever painted, a lot of fun, but hope to continue to thin down the paints because some of the fur is a little bit too thick. Now, just judging by what your technique is, I can see that like you're doing your base colors and then maybe doing a dip, or
It's definitely a wash.
yeah, a wash.
a wash, yeah.
So, like they look absolutely fantastic. My only suggestion now is to like continue looking through other projects, because that's where you get your inspiration. That's when you get to learn new techniques, like dry brushing and highlighting and just doing different colors. Like look at the deep water stuff. Deep wars stuff. Just a variety of colors used in that. I don't know, it wouldn't really fit with Vikings, but it'd give you some inspiration to try something different.
I think your next step in your skill set, you've got your base coats down pat. Certainly, if you feel like you need to thin your paints a little bit more, do it. Go ahead. I think your next major technique step up for yourself is to work on your highlighting. Particularly start with dry brushing first, and then look at doing some hard edging. Because if you get some hard edgings, particularly on the helmets of these Vikings, you will get a gorgeous little glimmer that can come off like the really sharp edges, particularly on the nose plates and stuff like that. You'll get
even just down here in the calves and trousers, a little bit of highlight there, I think. But for your first miniatures, amazing work.
The best bit is once you've learned and got confident with like some highlighting techniques, you can revisit your first miniatures and bring them up to the same level again. You know, a miniature is only ever done when you decide it's done, in which case nothing I've ever painted is finished.
That's deep.
But it's true. You know, if you look at something and think, oh, I need to do that yet, it's not finished.
Well,
A key thing with Vikings as well, just so you remember, is that a lot of it's got fur on it, and fur is really easy to paint when you think about it. So,
Especially with dry brushing.
especially with lots of dry brushing. Dry brushing is the best.
okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. If you want to come across, it's the first time you've seen the stream, come across the ontabletop.com, or as we're formerly known as beastofwar.com. Both links work. And we have a lot of stuff coming up this weekend as well. Tomorrow we will have a Blood and Plunder Let's Play go out, and we will have those Reichbusters videos coming out pretty soon, hopefully, as well. Weekender is on schedule this week, Ben, yeah, isn't it?
Yep.
Ben's frantically working away and not playing Red Dead Redemption 2. If you want to come across and help us with the stream and help us do what we do, you can come across and join Backstage for a 7-day free trial and check out all of our cool painting tutorials and random cool stuff as well. You also get to check out the vlogs and Backstage, and you get to see what that huge delivery was, hopefully soon. But as for now, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much, Ben, from the ether, from beyond. I'll let you say goodbye, Ben.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone. I'll see you next week. Bye.